Olathe, Spring Hill, Edgerton, everybody has different water and wastewater than we do, and if we don't run ours as efficiently as possible while maintaining it and offering it for the most reasonable rates, then we're going to lose future residents and future businesses to some of these other municipalities.
True, but the flaw in your reasoning is it isn't a business because currently the 20,000 people that live within the city limits don't have that ability to go to another provider. It's a monopoly, if you want to call it that. I mean, it's not really run like a business.
Mayor,
But maybe we should run it like
It's
Jim?
Yes, please.
The discussion items this evening on your agenda are the Electric Utility Board Ordinance 2296.
Yeah, can
You
we,
need to stick with.
I agree with that.
so can we get some sort of consensus as to what, I mean, I think that we're kind of now talking around each other, so
Yeah.
I
maybe
agree.
if we can just say, this is what we want staff to do and bring back.
I think what we need to do is we need to address what changes need to be made to the ordinance as it's written right now, because no one's interested in repealing the consensus of council is not to repeal the ordinance as it is, and we'll live under this world until we maybe devise a better solution. So it's what elements within the ordinance as it's written right now need to be addressed and perhaps voted upon at the next available meeting to be ratified. One, I think, and just to go into those, to move forward, Section 2, Item B, the appointment and tenure, I think that just needs to go, basically say, we'll follow the procedures recognized by ordinance number 2424 for the appointments of boards and policies. It falls into the same way that those are filled.
Agree.
The next one would be, we already talked about Section 3A as far as that budget, and that's something that's going to be handled by the Finance Department. The next one...
Hold on a second. Let's go back to 2G. We need to do something one of these days about not having city meetings on the same nights as other city meetings.
So can we, let me ask you this, because it doesn't state in here when the meetings are. So could we not just go back to the board and say, change your meetings?
Yes.
I mean,
I think that's the easiest thing to do, yeah. I don't know that that needs to be clarified in order.
okay, yeah, I mean, okay.
Yeah, but that's...
Yeah.
but-
Yeah, you're right, that does need to be addressed.
And then I think Section 3, Item B, we talked about that the city administrator should follow hiring practices with administrative services to appoint a director, rather than that being something the board handles.
Okay.
Is my thought. If anybody disagrees, then let me know.
So say that one again?
Right now, it states on Section C, Item B, that the board shall appoint, employ, and establish the salary of a director who shall be qualified for the overall management of the utility. In essence, that it should follow any of our other director vacancies and be filled in that manner
Okay.
between the city administrator and...
HR.
All of your recommendations sound great, but each one of them directly conflicts with run it like a business, which is basically in a vacuum. So, in essence, like, this brings back, if you do that,
Well,
you have another conflict.
Before we go
If-
too far, I think, though, one of the things that started the conversation is operating the vacuum has created some communication flaws and some operational flaws that need to be addressed. So my opinion is that we're addressing those with those. While you'll still be doing some things and operating within a vacuum, I would certainly just think that the admin and administrative services are better positioned to hire a director than the board would be.
No, that's, I'm not disagreeing with that. What I'm wanting to mention is that each decision that the UB has control over currently has a direct impact on the ability of the UB to run it like a business. So each decision needs to be considered cognizant of what that will ripple through.
Right.
Which is a direct reason why I don't think you want to make it an advisory board only, because then you lose the ability and the unanimous decision that the BPU committee found that the EUB provides that ability to run GE with all the time and energy that the city council doesn't have. You don't want to lose that asset of keeping it where some operations are separate. You just need to put checks and balances, and Mr. Fodovich, sounds like some of the issues, it sounds like with previous administration and whatever is a trust. Well, you put faith into your finance director, you put faith in your Parks and Rec director, you put faith in your city admin, like you guys appoint her, or hire her, sorry. She runs all of this. That's no different than the board being appointed. There's just trust in that board to do the right thing for GE. There just needs to be checks and balances. Those are what need lined out, the specifics of those. All these decisions are high level. You're going to have to get down into the nitty-gritty at some point.
But
Regardless of what the ordinance says, it could say, have a board or 48 pages long. You're going to have to get down to what happens and what does the board have power over and what do they not specifically.
I think there's some absolute validity to that. Certainly, if we go into that level of detail, that's something that's a process that could be ongoing. I think what we want to do is, my impression is that we want to adjust maybe some things that we identify as immediate flaws and immediate things with the ordinance review that could be fixed quickly. And I think in most cases, with the exception of maybe some of the budgeting purposes and building that piece, and there might be more that others suggest, are relatively pain-free and won't what's the best way to put it? Basically won't put a stop sign up with the way the EB is operating right now. It'll change some of the fundamental things you're doing, but your goals and things won't have to change, in the way that you achieve those goals, I don't believe will have to change with what I think we're going to address this evening. I think there's some fundamental changes that will be reviewed over the upcoming, whether it's BPU or other different pieces, but I think what we'll accomplish tonight won't.
So we're actually taking it, this current board, we're actually transforming it to a certain extent to bullet point 1 under fundamentally change, which is we're adding some council oversight, we're taking away a couple of functions, but from the day-to-day perspective of day-to-day operations, the director and the board work the same as they do today, and that's really more of the area that I believe we need to focus on in the short term. You know, and then if we want to do something with BPU and you know, in the future, make it more of an, I mean, I'd be happy to look at that, but initially, I think we need to allow Gardner Energy to be able to make Gardner Energy decisions with oversight, advising consent authority, and input from the department heads of HR and finance, specifically, and economic development, to make sure that your goals are in alignment with their goals and with the goals of the city administrator and the council. That's what I'm looking for.
Go ahead.
Yeah, the problem that I see where you're going with it being more like bullet point 1 under fundamental changes. But if we're going to be fundamentally changing the ordinance, and if we're going to take care and be very cautious in how we address it, this would be the time to do it and include the other utilities in with it.
That's a bigger.
Regrettably, we can't talk about that because that's not the issue that we're tasked with. So I guess what I see happening is Cheryl taking in all the information that we've given her, and we know that 3 of those things are quite clear. The economic development portion has to be approved by the council. The budget has to be, you get the final say-so on the budget, and Mary makes all the HR decisions, and we could form the EUB policies to sync with the policies, kind of like what Heath was saying. Why do we have a separate vacancy component and board appointment component when we already have that?
One didn't exist before, that's the
Okay, well,
simple,
that's, either way,
yeah.
Actually, if we're talking about repealing and fix, because we couldn't just, this ordinance would have to be repealed, correct?
You have to repeal them in place.
You can amend it.
You can amend it? Well, you can amend it and say that we can do water and wastewater with it as well.
again,
So-
your attorney said you really should be discussing
Yeah,
that. but you wanna-
actually, you know, Larry, wouldn't you wanna,
At this point, I think I have the
Yes.
input, and
Got it.
we will bring one of 2 things. You can amend this. I just want to put this out. Sometimes when you make so many changes with a strike through, underline, delete, it's easier to repeal and replace. So we might do that, just so you're not seeing like red lines all over this ordinance, but it will be a revision to this ordinance.